Hi everyone, welcome back to some more 3D printing. I'm Agustin Flawalistic and today I want to show you this little Pokeball planter. Some weeks ago I shared with you this Zelda planter and I mentioned it was part of a collection. Well, some of you may know I'm a very big Pokemon fan and I follow the Pokemon tournaments that are all around the world. The Latin American Pokemon Championship is this weekend, so I decided this Pokemon planter would be a great member of this collection. I want to thank Innofil for providing me with some great filament for all this planter collection. I've left a link in the description where you can find all the filaments and colors they offer, which are a lot. Now I want to show you how I designed this planter and how you can print it, so let's move to Fusion 360. In Fusion 360 what we are going to do is exactly the same as with the Zelda planter. As it's going to be a planter collection with the same size, I'm going to make a 14 centimeter cube and apply a 14 millimeter fillet. At this point I would apply a shell as with the Zelda planter, but this design is going to be slightly different as it's not going to be a dual extrusion design, so we are going to keep working on the design and afterwards we are going to create the shell. We are going to insert an image on one of the sides of the planter, and in this case I chose the Pokemon Go app logo. We are going to resize that logo to fit on one of the sides of the planter, and then we are going to create a sketch on that same face and we are going to start working. First we are going to create the bottom of the Pokeball, but we are not going to make it exactly the same size. Once we've got these reference lines, what we are going to do is end the sketch and then we are going to select the extrude option. We are going to select all the different parts that we've created and we are going to extrude them, but we are going to select the intersect option. This way what we are going to get are 3 different parts after applying some extrusions and removing some parts and copying and pasting them, is this proto planter with the 3 different parts that will have a different color. In the Pokeball design, the inner part, the black one, is smaller than the top and bottom parts. This way we are going to use the press pull option from Fusion 360 and we are going to extrude it to make it smaller. This way we are going to keep the proportions but just push them inwards. There is no need to apply any fillet to make a dual extrusion print in this case, as we are going to make different parts. So don't worry about this and let's move to the next step. Now we are going to select the top part and apply a 3mm shell as we already did with the Zelda planter. We are going to do exactly the same with the bottom part, as those 2 parts have exactly the same outer diameter and size. As some of the faces of the top and bottom parts aren't fully horizontal, what we are going to do is select them and create a sketch, and then we are going to extrude them to remove those bottom and top parts. With the middle part, I wasn't so sure if I had to remove all the top and bottom parts, and I did exactly the same as with the top and bottom parts. However, I realized there would be some leaks from the soil or water when we are watering the plants, so I decided to push back and bottom that part and make it fully horizontal. This way, as you can see, it keeps the same shape, as it's the top and bottom parts, the ones that give that round shape for the bottom. I gave the middle part some extra millimeters just to make sure there isn't any leaks. And now what I had to do is create a system to place the middle parts and avoid any unwanted movements. I want to create a very specific distance between the top and bottom parts, and it's the middle part, the one that will hold both of them together. Before dealing with that, I decided to create the Pokeball's bottom just to get some visual references of how it will look in the end. Once I created the Pokeball button, I focused on creating a system to hold the 3 parts in place. I already assumed there wouldn't be any extra space between them, so the tolerance would be 0. However, each part can be resized with the slicer, so I decided to ignore that part. The easiest and best way I found to keep all the parts together was to add to the top and bottom parts some small blocks on the inside. This way, when I inserted the middle part, it would touch those small blocks when it reached its position. I did the exact same thing for both top and bottom parts, and I also applied a small fillet to make it easily printable. Once I finish the planter, I always like to apply some color to the model to get a better reference on how it will look and also to see the different parts in which the model will be divided. Once everything is double checked, we just need to export each part into a different STL file and print it with the correct filament color. The Pokemon planter consists of 4 different parts, these 3 and this small button that I already glued to the black part. So now I want to show you how you can assemble it. As you can see, the assembly process is super easy and you just need to snap the parts together. Considering the tolerances each printer has, you may want to print some tests before doing the final model. As you've seen, this planter isn't a dual extrusion model, mainly because it has 3 different colors, white, black and red. I printed it with the BCN 3D Sigma, which is a dual extrusion machine, but I just used one nozzle. The original design is a 14 cm cube, but you can easily resize it to make it smaller or bigger. This one is 90 mm. There are 2 versions of this planter, with or without holes, and also a small container in case you're going to put this planter on your office desk near a computer. In that case, you would need to print the planter with no holes and the container to hold the planter and just avoid any leak. I've left a link in the description where you can download this planter in any of the versions, and if you have any question about this design, use the comment section below or Twitter. Also, remember that during the next weeks, probably next week, I will be releasing a new video game planter, the 3rd and last one of this small collection. Don't forget to like this video, subscribe to this channel and check my Patreon page. Also, huge thanks to all my supporters. I hope you like this Pokemon planter and see you next time.